Hello and welcome to Unikron's Gaming. Today we're going to be talking about a Golden Axe. I'm going to be mostly concentrating on the arcade and the Mega Drive ports, and then I will talk about the PC Engine CD port and the Master System port. Okay, so a very brief history about this game. It's obviously a side-scrolling hack and slash game, up to 2 players. Unfortunately, it was never a 3-player game, which would have been really cool. It was created by Sega in the arcades in 1989, running on their System 16B arcade hardware. I believe the designer also created or designed Altered Beast a year before. His name was Makoto Yoshida. Hopefully I've pronounced that right. He was the lead designer, I should say. He didn't design the whole thing. Basically, everyone in this game, all 3 protagonists, something terrible has happened to them because of the hands of a deaf adder. So obviously the game came out in 1989 in the arcades. I believe in the arcades in Europe or the UK it came out in 1990. And then the Mega Drive port also came out in 1990 for the UK. I believe it came out in 89 for North America and Japan. The PC Engine port came out in 1990, and the Master System version also came out in 1990. So yeah, I obviously played the hell out of this in the arcade, and I obviously played the hell out the Mega Drive version because I was blessed to have a Mega Drive. Anyway, let's talk more about the arcade and the Mega Drive version. So let's get to it. Okay, I'm going to be all over the place with this game. I'm going to try and stick to a formula as best I can, but this is a very special game to me, so I'm going to talk about it quite a bit all over the place. Alright, as you can see here, the arcade is actually got scaling when you're switching around the characters, where the Mega Drive version didn't. That's one of the major things that the arcade was really good at, which is sprite scaling. Unfortunately, the Mega Drive didn't have that hardware built in, and this is a very small cartridge. It's probably a 4 meg cartridge, so it has got some animation cut out, some key animation, but it doesn't really hurt the presentation. The characters look really cool. Here's another difference here: the presentation of the story. You're told what's happening in the arcade version as opposed to you already know in the Mega Drive version. I'm not too sure if this is canon or if this is just me making this up, but it seems like in the arcade version, Gilius Thunderhead, who's the dwarf here, he really has the Golden Axe and he's using it to destroy Death Adder, whereas the Mega Drive version seems to be that, I don't know, Death Adder or Deathbringer has the power of the Golden Axe, and you must stop him from creating more atrocities. I could be wrong there, but that's what it seems like to me. Okay, so you got 3 characters to control. This is a 2-player game. I'm only going to show 1 player here because I didn't have anybody else to play with, and but that's okay. I'm used to 1 player on the arcade as well as the home version. I've done it many times before. As you can see, unfortunately, the Mega Drive version doesn't have any parallel scrolling of any type. It's just 1 layer, which is crazy. And then on the arcade, it does have parallel scrolling. As you can see there, the arrow, see some nice parallel scrolling there. And also the transitions, they're more numerous on arcade and they're a lot smoother. Once again, there's more interaction. You feel like you're saving people more on the arcade, whereas there's less of that on the Mega Drive version. But the Mega Drive version still has the core gameplay down pat and was a very good port. I don't believe it's missing any of the attacks, which is the main thing. And the sprite size is really cool as well. They're not tiny, they're not boxed or bordered. I'm looking at you, Street Fighter 2 Champion Edition. Yeah, so that's pretty cool. The sound is similar, really similar, but obviously it's not as good as the arcade. Voices, unfortunately, there's a lot less samples on the Mega Drive version compared to the arcade, but it was still a really good representation of the arcade game and a really, really good port. What I truly appreciated about the port was that it kept the simultaneous 2-player, so it was a really great co-op game, which wasn't the normal thing for ports back in that day. Oh, and there's another thing that you see on the arcade: when the enemies die, they just turn to stone and they stay there. Obviously, due to memory constraints in the cartridge, the Mega Drive version won't be able to do that. Enemies flashed and disappeared, because obviously the game would slow down a lot, and it would probably just come to a standstill in the end. So yeah, that's the other big difference. I'm probably going to stop talking about huge differences now, because a lot more interaction, which you won't see in the Mega Drive version. Yeah, a lot of I'm going to stop talking about the differences now, really, because obviously you can see them for yourselves. The differences are there, and I'm more going to talk about the core gameplay of the games now, because graphically we can see the slight downgrade, but there's nothing really cut out that will make you say, oh, this is a terrible port, or the arcade version was so much better. The grading and the coloring is a big difference. We can see that here. But even stuff like this is the arcade. In between cutscenes, after you bring back your magic, it wasn't that different. And for a 4 meg cart, it was really, really impressive, especially for the time. Okay, so to wrap up, general graphics, I think the character sprites are great. Animation is good. Enemy sprites, I think, are wonderful in this game. Yes, they get used over with a slightly different color palette, but still, it's tremendous. So yeah, that parallel scrolling, the lack of it on the Mega Drive is disappointing, but still, arcade is really cool and really nice, especially as it's got some more transitions. So yeah, graphics, characters, animation, scrolling, enemy designs, all great. Okay, let's talk about general gameplay now. To be honest, it's not really that deep. Yeah, if you just spam the attack button, you can do a particular combo. If you tap forward and attack, the character will run and then do a charging attack. Enemies can do the same as well. Like I said, there is two-player co-op. There is no 2-player co-op moves per se. You can dash, jump in the air and come down on an enemy. If you press, is it attack and jump at the same time? You do a backwards attack, which is probably OP for a lot of the characters. But Gillis Thunderhead's dwarf, his one's really good. You can use mounts, which is phenomenal. There's 3 different types, 2 different dragons, and a chicken leg, which also makes an appearance in Golden Axe. Not Golden Axe, so this is Golden Axe. Sorry, Altered Beast. Yeah, this is a chicken leg, made a debut the year before in Altered Beast. Another great system for the gameplay is the vials of magic. Everyone has different strengths of magic. Gillis Thunderhead has the lowest amount, but he can get to his max in the quickest time. The Barbarian is the best overall. Not the best overall. He's the middle guy. He's the, just the average guy. I should really learn the names of these characters, but because I don't use the other 2, I've never cared to know their name. I think the guy's called Axe Battler, and the woman, we're just going to call her, we're going to call her Red Sonja. All right, we're going to call her Red Sonja. She has the best magic, but she takes the longest to reach max power. Yeah, so the magic system is really cool. After each stage, you get the chance to rest, and you can hit these little gnomes. At certain points, they will drop food for you, and they also pick up any loose magic you have, but you can hit them again and get back your magic. As for the enemy AI, it's not really that diverse. I mean, they have similar attacks to you, and to be brutally honest, what they try and do is get either side of you and then just smash you in the middle like a sandwich, or for want of a better word, a deathly spit roast. Yeah, so your main thing is to not get caught in the middle between 2 enemies. especially in single player. In two player, someone can help you out, so it's not a big issue. But yeah, that's the general gist of the gameplay. Yeah, nothing else really to say about that. Hold on, wait, what am I talking about? Obviously there is. The button system. It's a 3-button system game, so you have attack, jump, and magic. That's the way that I have my buttons set out. Attack, jump, and magic. Yes, it's a 3-button system. Oh, how could I forget about that game? Yeah, a lot of games during this time had a 2-button system, which was jump and attack. But this game was actually a bit more complicated and had a 3-button system. Okay, so now I'm going to talk about my history with the game. I'm going to do it in 2 parts. First, I'm going to talk about the arcade version. I'm going to call that part 1, and then the home version, the home port on the Mega Drive, and I'll call that, oddly enough, part 2. Surprise, surprise. So yeah, part 1. So I was in secondary school when this game came out. I had to think about it for a second. Yeah, I was in secondary school. After school, me and a few friends, we'd be walking home. We'd walk past various video rental stores and corner shops and, kebab and chip shops. At that time, you would probably see stuff like Chase HQ, Gradius, Splatterhouse, Shinobi. What else would have been out there? Robocop 1. And this game. And I fell in love with this game straight away. And because it was 2-player at the same time, even better. So we would put in quite a bit of money to play this. When we first saw it, even though we was in school and we could read, for some reason we thought this was a a Dungeons and Dragons spin-off. Because of the cast, we was thinking, all they did was drop the wizard. So this is basically some sort of Dungeons and Dragons spin-off. We didn't realize that it had nothing to do with Dungeons and Dragons. When I eventually got to this stage here, I was like, this is like Jason and the Argonauts. I think that movie's Jason and the Argonauts. The one where his dad is Zeus and he has to kill Medusa to kill the... I'm sure this is the game where they fight the skeletons. Anyway, I mean the movie. So yeah, I just fell in love with this game because I was just like, it just reminded me so much of Altered Beast, just the style. Little did I know that the lead designer worked on this. I didn't know that at the time, but I was just like, yeah, this game looks great. It felt great. It was just genuinely a joy to play. It wasn't too cheap. An arcade was ramped to the hardest levels. There was only 2 places where this game was, which was surprising, but it probably cost the people to get this game in quite a bit of money. So it was the bigger video rental store and one of the main chip shops that had it. So yeah, but it always had a crowd of people. But a lot of people couldn't beat this game. This game was, I think it was more than 20 pence a credit, I believe, in one of the places. And the cheaper place, it was a ramped up to high difficulty level. But I didn't care, I just played them at both places. I always put 50 pence in to get extra credits. So I either got 2 or 3 credits depending on where I played it. But I just loved this game in the arcade. I mostly played it 2-player, but I played a lot of it in single player near the end. And I actually got so good at the game, I actually completed this on 2 credits. I couldn't do it on 1 credit. I tried as hard as I could, but I could not 1 CC or 1 credit this game. I couldn't clock it on 1 credit. It always took me a minimum of 2. Oddly enough, in 2-player mode, I could complete it on 1 credit. I used to direct whoever I was playing with what to do. And this was the second game I ever beat on the arcade. The first being Double Dragon in... I think Double Dragon was 1987 on the arcade, I think. But anyway, back to this game here. So yeah, this was the second game I ever beat on the arcade at that time. This was probably outside of Double Dragon, this was the second game that I remember having a proper strategy for. Even when I was at school in my lessons, I was thinking about this game like, okay, how do I beat this section? How do I beat that section? And the great thing was I took that same mentality to the Mega Drive, and because the Mega Drive version played so closely, the same techniques and tactics worked. The only thing that was a bit wonky, sometimes the hit detection was a bit off on the arcade. Just cheap, realistically. The arcade would do a couple things, but hold on, I should have hit you there, or we wasn't on the same line. How did you manage to hit me there? That's a bit much. And I found the knights, their sword swings, I just couldn't quite get the timing right for the flying headbutt on them. So yeah, I wasn't a fan of the 2 red knights later on. That's where I would genuinely lose my credit. Sometimes I'll be doing so well up to there, and those 2 knights would just take me out in 1-player mode when I was playing it by myself. In 2-player it wasn't an issue because we could take a knight each. Those goddamn red knights. I generally always stuck to Gilius Thunderhead because I think he's just the best character in the game. He's not slow. He has the best reach for the axe. I reckon he has the best alternate move. When he rolls on the floor backwards to hit someone, that's almost as OP as the back elbow, double dragon. Here's the 2 knights, filthy swines. I just think even though he has the least amount of magic, the best thing to do with him is get it to free and just use it, because generally you can just fill him up so quickly. So it doesn't actually matter. I think the thing, just do not hold on to the magic. I generally try and get myself enough space so I can headbutt most of the way through the enemies. Sometimes they do charge at you and hit you first, but if you can run and headbutt them, you can just knock people off ledges and all sorts of things. I just think he's just the best character all around in the game for me, and same for the Mega Drive version. But yeah, that's basically my history of the arcade version. Beat it in 2-player mode. I beat it multiple times in 1-player mode. I could never do it on 1 credit in single-player mode. I could in 2-player mode. So yeah, now let's talk about the Mega Drive and my history with that port. So the Mega Drive version, I think it was a game that my brother got for his birthday. The best thing about my brother, no, this is going to sound really horrible. This is not the best thing about my brother, but at the time, because siblings, you didn't really necessarily like each other. So the best thing about him at the time, obviously I love my brother, or he's one of many brothers, but he was born in June. So therefore, he was able to get presents every 6 months. So we could get a game every 6 months. That was the best thing at the time. Obviously, that's very shallow, and I don't think like that now, because obviously he's given me nieces and nephews, and everything's fine. But as a kid, it's like, oh God. But yeah, anyway, so he got this, I think, for his birthday or Christmas, 1 or 2. And we loved the hell out of this game. We played it so much. We actually played this more than we played Altered Beast, I think, in 2-player mode. We did everything. We battered this game. We knew this game inside and out. Obviously, we had a running start with this game simply because me, Unikronn, I battered this game on the arcade. So I knew how to beat Death Adder. I knew the tips and tricks. I knew when to run and jump, when to dash over gaps and stuff like that. But what I wasn't prepared for was Deathbringer and the continuation of the game. That wasn't a thing. I was just in shock. I mean, oddly enough, this was like a running thing with the Mega Drive. Sonic 2 with Super Sonic. Shadow Dancer being the preferred version, the Mega Drive compared to the arcade, and now Golden Axe adding an extra stage and an extra boss. Yeah, the Mega Drive just continuously surprised us, and me more so. So we would play this on the hardest level, and we would just go through the game. We loved playing this game. Oh, look at the arcade ending, so cool. I remember speaking to that memory, seeing this. odd enough, when I see this, my memory, it's almost like I can smell chips because I clocked it in a chip shop, or I can hear the other arcade games in the video store when I see this. Strange that what memories do. So me and my brother played this game really hard. He was the girl, Red Sonja. Like I said, I can't remember her name. I'm not going to pause the video. I'm not going to re-edit this and put her name in there like I remember this stuff. Who gives a flying F? I didn't pick her, but he liked her because of her speed and the amount of magic she could hold. So I suppose together we were the perfect pair. I was Gillis Thunderhead and he was Red Sonja. So he was really good with her. He, just like me on the Mega Drive version, we would both play single player at times. We both complete with all three characters on the hardest level. Unlike the arcade, I could complete this with 1 credit on the arcade. Sorry, I could complete the Mega Drive version 1 player with 1 credit. Unlike the arcade, my brother could do the same as well, but we preferred playing together. Yeah, this was our thing. Before Streets of Rage 1, it was Golden Axe, and we just loved it. Things that we thought were strange, like, you see the skeletons in the wall, was like, why don't those versions come out and fight us rather than the standard ones we have here? We thought that was strange. And there's a couple of other enemies that you saw statues of which we didn't fight. It was just like, oh, why don't they give us those versions? But yeah, we found the game a bit teeth on the hardest level, because obviously the hitboxes and hurtboxes were slightly better than the arcade, but you know, the game was still trying to teeth you, try and get you in the middle and just keep smacking you to death. But we managed it. So you could do stuff like this, you know, you just walk down or let the enemy charge and bye. So yeah, those are the other statues we was talking about. It's like, why didn't those come down and fight us? That's what we really thought was going to happen because of the colors, but it just didn't work out like that. But so my history with this game was, my brother got it for his birthday. We played the hell out of it. I think we even lent it out to other friends as well. And this was at that point where it was just like, okay, the Mega Drive is a serious piece of kit. And friends who had the Amigas and Atari STs, they were just like, wow, the arcade versions of the Sega games were really good on the Mega Drive. And you've got dedicated buttons on the controllers, on the control pads. If you had the 8-bit microcomputers, obviously at that time people wanted to upgrade to either Amigas, but it started shifting to people wanted the Mega Drive. You know, if you had a Amstrad CPC, well, you had more important things to worry about in life, like your parents hating you for buying that atrocious machine, rather than, you know, them loving you and somehow buying you any other machine apart from an Amstrad. So yeah, Amstrad CPC. And besides, why would you want to play this game in green screen? Really? Green screen? Anyway, enough about the Amstrad. Let's just talk a little bit more about this game. Okay, in this video and other videos, I mentioned that I was blessed to have a Mega Drive, and I don't just mean I was lucky. I truly believe I was blessed, because my mother had to work hard to get that Mega Drive. It was, to get it, I had to get good grades, and so that was the thing. And I believe that I chose right, because I don't know, I could have asked for a different console, but the Mega Drive just gave me those home ports. And I thought to myself, I was blessed to play these games, because obviously, especially back then, games weren't cheap. 35 to 45 pounds back in the 80s. With inflation, that's more than what we're paying for games now. Or, I mean, luckily, you got cheats and added value rather than having to use DLC or games as a service. It was the complete package. So yeah, I truly felt blessed to be able to play the arcade and then come home and have sometimes better than the arcade experience at home. Yes, there was bits cut out, but it was a blessing to be able to play video games back in that day and grow up with video games. So I don't take it for a given that I was just born and came out the right vagina for the time. So no, I came at the right time to be blessed to play video games. So yeah, I truly believe that if you had a Mega Drive and you're playing these games, you were blessed to play these great games. Okay, I don't think this is a blessing, but anyway, the PC Engine CD, Mega Drive, port, yeah, the anime intros and cutscenes and stuff like that, great. I think they're excellent. That's probably one of the best things. Oh, and the music, the CD music is also once again really cool. Get to hear different arcade and renditions. That's really nice. Instead of just seeing text, you get a whole cartoon basically, which is nice. That's realistically all I can think of to say this. I'd never played PC Engine before, so I'm thinking about it as if back in 1990, if I had to play a home port, obviously I'm going to be biased because I had the Mega Drive version, blessed to have that, and I think that was the best way to play Golden Axe at the time at home. This, if I'd had it, me and my brother would have been like, oh my gosh, look at this. We would have been gobsmacked about all of this, what you're seeing here. We wouldn't have been expecting this. I mean, this would have been like watching a Saturday morning cartoon on, I don't know, Whack-A-Day with Jimmy Mallet, or the DJ Cat Show on Sky One or something like that, you know, or I don't know, children's BBC, you know, watching Mysterious Cities of Gold or Ghostbusters, or I don't know, Greatest of All Time, Transformers. Or if he was a kid, what would have been 1990? I think the big thing would have been Teenage Mutant Hero Turtles, because I'm in the UK. Wasn't allowed to say ninjas, oh god no. So yeah, we would have been ecstatic seeing the intro, and we would have been hyped. I'm telling you, me and my brother would have been hyped for this game. Would have been like, oh my god. Yeah, I mean, obviously I've edited this heavily because the intro and everything else, they're really long. They are really, really long. But we weren't a kid. We would have watched the whole thing, and we would have seen like these cartoon faces that look a little bit like G-Force or Battle of the Planets characters. We would have been like, oh, look at their faces and everything. Or they remind us of Voltron or something like that. So we would have been like, yeah, cool. We would have been so into the intro and just the presentation of this. Yeah. And then we would have got to the actual game. And I think it's only one player. And we would have seen this. And for me, I was been like, oh, you're having a laugh. No. Just no. How can you go from that intro to this? I don't understand. I mean, I don't know who produced or who ported or who made the... In fact, I don't actually care, because at the end of the day, they're still going to take your money. Or your parents' money, I would have said. So it's just like, this is what you give me? This? We've just watched Arcade and the Mega Drive, and we're coming down to this now. Music's great, but no, no, I'm sorry. And it's only one player? Oh, God. No. I would have been fuming if I don't understand how you go from that intro and all that presentation to this. I mean, I've played Shinobi, and Shinobi's really close to the arcade. What else is it? Splatterhouse. I've already seen, I should actually play Splatterhouse on PC Engine, but I've already seen YouTube videos, but that looks really cool. What else? Ghouls and Ghosts, apparently it's supposed to be really good on PC Engine. I haven't played that. I've seen it on YouTube though. And then there's this. So why is this so bad? So yeah, you know, I can't. Oh man. Yeah, you know what? I love video games and I don't like to poop on them. So when something's generally bad, I would rather not make a video on it. But I thought to myself, when I did the Champion Edition video, I talked about 3 ports of it, and that's what the people would have played mostly back in that day. So I thought I'd do this. I've talked about the Mega Drive, done PC Engine and Master System, but everyone looks like the Wolf in this. I mean, look, no one's really that much taller than him. I suppose at least they have the mounts and stuff in there, and you know, for this game came out after the Mega Drive version, so you would have seen the Mega Drive version, but it is what it is, and this is the best that they had to play. So, but I wouldn't have been happy with it. I wouldn't have been happy, no. Okay, so now we're on to Sega's, I suppose, 8-bit powerhouse, the Sega Master System with Golden Axe. Why has my dude got the Golden Axe on his back? Okay. There's, so it's the same thing. Me and my brother, it's 1990. Would we be happy with this home port to play it? Short answer, no. It doesn't have the intro of the PC Engine, because obviously it's a cartridge-based system. There's no CD expansion, so you don't get nice music. You don't get like the anime intro. There's Axe Battler there using everybody else's magic. Even Red Sonja. What's her name? Tyrus Flare. Wow, I actually remember her name. Yeah, so no, me and my brother would not have been happy with this. Just why Sega? Why? I mean, what? I don't understand the thinking here. I just don't. I mean, okay, I know this is, the arcade was magnitudes more powerful than the Sega Master System, but look what they did with Shinobi on the Master System. That was a really thoughtful conversion. They lent into the strengths of the Master System, and it was good. Okay, it wasn't the arcade version, it was different, but it was thoughtful and it's pretty cool. This, you can only be one character. The PC Engine allowed you to pick 3. You can only pick one character. Yes, you can pick the other choice of magic, but come on, the hit detection isn't good. I don't even like to poo-poo on games, but video games are a wonderful thing. But wow, I mean, what's that? What's the frame rate here? I don't even know. And the animation just sucks. The hit detection, the hurt boxes. I mean, you have mounts at least. I mean, the chicken leg is the wrong color, but why couldn't it be? Where's the purple or the pink for the chicken leg? You telling my system can't show pink? There's a lot of blue here, an extreme amount of blue. Yeah, I just don't know what to say about this. Me and my brother would have been pissed. I'm telling you now, we would have been pissed if this is what we had. At least sprites are decent size. I'll give them that. I like the size of the sprites. You can make out what they look like. I think if this was in a magazine and still shots, we probably would have been happy. We'd be like, okay, it looks pretty cool. But then when we see it in motion and play it, we would have been like, no. I mean, at first I thought I had some bootleg version of this game. I was like, oh, this isn't the proper game. But I went on YouTube and looked at other people's videos of them playing through the game. This is the Master System version. This is, you know, there's gonna be people that defend this game. So fair dues, if you like it, you like it. But this, the only saving grace I can say for this game here, the only saving grace is that if you owned an Amstrad CPC, your parents didn't love you because they bought you that. This, at least they love you because they tried. Oh my God. I've just been interrupted. Oh man. I'm coming back. You know what? I decided to leave that in because that's my aunt. I've got to go meet her today. Check on her, see how she is. So she was just calling me. to make sure that we're still on for our meetup today. My phone's on Do Not Disturb, but you know, family can get through that. But hey, my aunt loves me because she never bought me an Amstrad CPC, so therefore that's why I'm going to leave it in. At least people's parents bought them this because they thought, oh, it's Sega and it's you know what, there's no excuse. I'm sorry, and I'm out. Peace. Oh, Master System trash.